I never imagined that buying a home, something I'd worked toward for over a decade, would be the thing that fractured my relationship. My name's Darren, and I'm 33. I spent the last 10 years in tech, slowly clawing my way up from an unpaid intern to a senior product lead. It wasn't glamorous, just long hours, weekend freelancing, and living modestly while saving every extra dollar. By the time I was ready to buy, I had nearly $90,000 stashed away and a solid credit score. I wasn't wealthy, but I was proud. Then there's Isla. She's 31, works in marketing, and when she wants to be, she's incredibly smart and engaging. We'd been together for 3 years, living in a worn-out one-bedroom city apartment with paper-thin walls and a heater that barely worked. Despite the chaos, we made it feel like home. We split rent and bills evenly, and even though I made more, I never made an issue of it. That's just what you do when you care about someone. When rent increased again, we began tossing around the idea of buying a place. I had already been quietly planning for it, but now it felt like something we were doing together. We spent weekends touring homes, fantasizing about vegetable gardens and cozy living rooms. For a while, it felt like we were really building a future. Then we got serious about finances. I visited a broker and learned I could get approved for up to $520,000 on my own. If Isla joined the application, that figure dropped to $340,000 because of her credit issues and remaining student loans. It wasn't just about numbers, it meant the difference between settling and thriving. She understood the logic, though not without a frown, and agreed I should apply solo. We found the perfect home, a charming 2-story for $435,000 in a peaceful neighborhood with a big backyard and a sunlit kitchen. I paid the full $75,000 down payment and handled all the closing costs. Isla helped with the moving truck and chipped in for some new furniture. She was involved in everything except the legal part. The house was in my name only, which had always been the plan. But on the day we closed, just as I finished signing, Isla looked at me and asked, "So, when do I get added to the deed?" I paused, surprised. We'd discussed this already. Her credit hadn't qualified, and she hadn't put any money toward the down payment. I reminded her that ownership wasn't a gift you gave someone just because you were dating, it was a serious responsibility. It wasn't about love. It was about financial security. She said nothing at first, but I could feel the tension begin to swell. From that point on, things shifted. She started itemizing every expense. $18.90 for groceries, $11 for laundry detergent, and made pointed remarks about carrying her weight. I told her she didn't need to prove anything, but her attitude said otherwise. Eventually, she proposed paying into the mortgage so she could gain equity. I explained that wasn't how it worked. The mortgage and the risk were entirely mine. If we split, she could walk away with no debt while I'd still owe every penny. I couldn't risk tying half of my biggest investment to someone without legal obligation or protection. That's when she exploded. She accused me of treating her like a tenant, of using the house to keep power over her. I tried to explain my position again, but she wasn't hearing it. Soon after, she told me her parents were willing to gift her $50,000 so she could buy in and be added to the deed. I told her no, that ship had sailed. I wasn't going to retroactively rewrite the terms. And more than that, I didn't want to be financially entangled with her parents. What if we broke up? Would I owe them? Would they get a say in home decisions? I wasn't opening that door. That's when things went from uncomfortable to unbelievable. She admitted she'd already spoken to a lawyer, not just for advice, but to find a legal path to ownership. She learned that unless we were married, she had no claim. But if she began paying into the mortgage and we had a written agreement, she could potentially build a case for equity. She had been planning this. When I confronted her, she insisted she just wanted to know her options. But who hires a lawyer just to know options? She even admitted her parents were ready to fund legal action if it came to that. That was it for me. I told her this was exactly why I hadn't added her to the deed in the first place. She wasn't behaving like a partner. She was preparing for a court battle. This wasn't about love or security anymore. It was about control. She packed a bag and left for her sister's place. It's been 5 days. This morning she messaged me saying she still wants to work through things, but only if we draft a legal agreement about shared equity. I said no. That trust has been broken. If she wants ownership of a home, she can do what I did, save, work, and build her credit. I won't be emotionally blackmailed into handing over half of something I bled for. I still have feelings for her. Or maybe I missed the version of her I thought I knew. But I'm also relieved. If I'd caved when she first asked, I'd be knee-deep in a legal battle right now. What this taught me is that love doesn't mean surrendering your financial safety net. Sometimes, protecting what you've built means drawing a line, even with the person you thought would never cross it. The first night after she left, the silence was deafening. You spend years sharing space with someone and forget how loud their absence is. The faint smell of her shampoo lingered in the hallway. Her favorite mug was still by the sink. The quiet wasn't peaceful, it was suffocating. But over the next few days, I started to feel something else. Clarity. This house, this future, I earned it. And I'll protect it, even if it means protecting it from someone I once loved. The first few nights after she left were the hardest. The home I once saw as our shared dream now echoed with a different tone. Each corner, each tile, every painted wall whispered memories of decisions we made together. But instead of warmth, it all felt hollow. I had envisioned a life together while she, I realized too late, had been preparing her position in case it all fell apart. Looking back, the clues had been there, quiet but persistent. She always brushed off talks about marriage, yet had a firm hand in picking out everything for the house. She would say things like, "When this is our house, not just yours," long before we even finalized the purchase. I had taken those words as optimism. Now I saw them for what they were, calculated moves in a game I didn't know I was playing. The line that haunted me the most came right after she left. "My parents are willing to loan me money for a lawyer." There was no hesitation in her voice when she said it. This was the same woman who once cried when I surprised her by fixing a broken shelf, who stayed up making soup when I had a bad flu. Now she was talking legal strategies as if she were planning a vacation. She messaged me later that week. "Can we talk this weekend? I don't want us to end like this." I agreed to Sunday. I spent that morning preparing, not just the house, but myself. I laid out every paper, the mortgage documents, bank transfers, loan approvals. I didn't know what she was coming with, but I wasn't going to be blindsided again. When she arrived, she didn't look like the confident, sharp version of her I remembered. She seemed smaller, worn down. She lingered at the door like she wasn't sure she belonged anymore. "I'm not here to fight," she said softly. I let her in. We sat across from each other in the living room, the same couch we had shared jokes on, cuddled on, argued on. Her eyes scanned the space like it hurt to look. "I was wrong," she said after a breath. "I shouldn't have gone to a lawyer behind your back." I didn't respond. No nod. No forgiveness. I waited. "I panicked," she went on. "You were making big decisions so fast. Getting the house, setting things up, and I felt like I was just a guest in it. Like I could be cut out at any time." "Then why not talk to me?" I asked. "Why go to your parents, to a lawyer, before even trying to trust me?" She looked down. "Because I didn't trust you, or maybe I didn't trust myself. I thought if I could secure some kind of hold, something legal, it would make me feel safer in the relationship. I didn't mean to, but my voice cut sharper than I intended. You don't create trust by setting up traps. You don't secure love with contracts." Her eyes glistened. "I know. I see that now. I didn't mean to manipulate you, but looking back, I think that's exactly what I did." We sat in silence. I stared past her at the empty photo frame we'd once planned to fill. Then she said something that stunned me. "My dad wants me to sue you." I blinked. "What?" "He thinks I have a claim. He says I lived here, helped with upkeep, paid toward the bills, even if just utilities. He says that gives me some right to the house." I laughed, dry, bitter. "You're not actually doing that, are you?" "No," she said quickly. "I told him I wouldn't. I just wanted you to know how close it came." I didn't say it aloud, but that was the final moment for me. Not the suggestion itself, but the fact that I truly believed she would have tried it if she thought she could win. She stayed a little while longer. We talked like two people who knew they had reached the end. There were no screams, no breakdowns. just a quiet kind of goodbye. When she left, she took a few things. Some clothes, a lamp she loved, her coffee machine. She said she'd return next week for the rest. I told her I'd box it all and leave it by the door. The next day, I hired a lawyer not to retaliate but to protect myself. He helped me draft a document clearly revoking any potential claim she might later try to make. I emailed it to her politely, asking her to sign it when she picked up her things. She never responded. Weeks passed. I heard she moved in with her sister, then got her own place near her job. Her parents helped with the deposit. That didn't surprise me. As for me, I've been learning to make peace with this house again. At first the silence was heavy, but it got easier. I set up a home office in the spare room, something I never did while she was here because she liked keeping it minimal. I even built a new bookshelf. Same model as the one I once fixed for her, but this one's just for me. Sometimes I sit in the backyard with a cold beer and just breathe. Not to celebrate being alone, but to acknowledge that I made it out of something that could have broken me in every way. Love shouldn't come with conditions. No one, partner, parent, or lawyer, has the right to claim a share in something they didn't build, just because they were present while you did. Do I miss her? Sometimes. But it's more the idea of her, the version I thought she was, not the one who threatened legal action when things didn't go her way. She said she wanted security. I gave her a home. She wanted her name on a deed. I wanted loyalty. In the end, she came with affection but left with demands. And now, in this house I worked for, protected, and reclaimed, I finally feel something I haven't in a long time. Peace.